Welcome to Collections of Cinema.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of
Your
Collections of Cinema, or Your Mom.
For short.
We're back with a brand new episode, as I just said. Welcome back to a brand new episode.
Is it new though?
It's brand new.
So it's not brand new.
It's branded new.
Like branded, like they brand a horse or brand cows.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That kind of brand new.
It's late in the evening. The
It's
bird's
7.
already settled.
It's 7
and the
p.m.
pigs cry their last scream before they go to bed.
That's how you know we're old and parents, because we say it's late when it's 7 p.m. It's so late.
It's late in the evening, and it's a foggy night.
I would say it's late in the afternoon.
Yep.
When does evening start?
I don't know. I feel like it depends what.
Does evening not start until it's dark, or is there a
No.
time that evening starts?
I feel like around 6ish. I feel like that's like.
Because 5 is still afternoon.
Yeah. Let's not talk about evening.
I'm really curious now.
Okay. So, before we go off into the podcast, I just wanted to, because I thought about it yesterday, not yesterday, a couple of days ago, not really 2 days ago, because someone asked me about the podcast, and then they asked like what it is, and then I explained the podcast, but then I thought a little bit like, what is our target audience?
People who like movies.
Yeah, but is it like cinephiles? Is it
No.
people who
I mean, yes, but not exclusively.
not exclusively? Yeah, that's right.
I would just
Also
say
not-
people who enjoy watching movies. It doesn't have to be people who are like movie buffs or
yeah.
who know a lot about cinema or who,
Yeah.
you know. And I think you keep coming into my frame.
I don't see the markers for the autofocus. So
No, I was just going to say that it's, I think that's kind of also the context of like how we work in terms of this podcast, because you know more about movies than I do. Like you just you understand not only like kind of more of the behind the scenes stuff.
yeah,
And what are you?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the dog because he's eating the ball. But keep going. I'm listening. No, I agree. I mean, we talked about that.
Yeah, I'm more of the, I just watch
So-
them because I mean, I have like respect, especially since I've
But if
been with
you-
you. I have more respect for a lot of the other
But
aspects
if
of
you
it.
would sum it up, like what is like the target audience? Like if someone asks you, okay,
People
what?
who like to watch movies.
Okay.
I think it's that simple.
Yeah.
And I think if you phrase it that way, it's
Or
not
you could
exclusively one way or the other of
or
like
you could
movie
also
buffs
say
or
it's
just
it's a podcast for people who are not so verticalized in the world of movies and want to maybe learn about some things, or even like find
or people who
new
want
movies
movie
to watch.
suggestions,
Right.
or
Yeah. So this movie is this podcast is obviously not exclusively for people who collect movies or have a digital or a physical collection of DVDs, Blu-rays, or whatever. So that's just
to circle back quick. In the social context, the Oxford English Dictionary defines evening as the time from about 6 p.m. or
6, that's what I
sunset
said.
if earlier. So
But
if the sunset is earlier than 6 p.m.,
yeah.
so it doesn't sound like if it's later than 6 p.m.,
No.
the
For
time
example, in
or
winter
it changes.
here, I
But
would say it's 4 or
Yeah.
4:30.
so if the sunset is earlier, that's evening,
Yeah.
and if otherwise it's at 6
Yeah.
or around 6.
So this week's movie is
The Substance.
The Substance. It's a 2004 movie.
As in 4.
2024 movie by the French
I think French.
Coralie Forget. I don't even know
I
how
would
to
say
pronounce it.
for sure.
Wait, there's a Coralie Faja. Faja, yeah. Faja.
Austin Powers Faja.
She's a French filmmaker. Her first movie was Revenge from 2017. We also watched that one, and I really liked it. It was a pretty tough movie because it follows a young woman who is raped and then left for dead in the desert by 3 men, where she recovers and seeks vengeance upon them. A pretty badass movie. Yeah, and to stay in line of her badassery, the director directed a body horror with Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, and also Dennis Quaid in the roles.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's a great movie. So the movie was, I think, in a lot of people's peripheral, or at least a lot of people were aware of that movie because it was nominated for a couple of Oscars, and a lot of people, like, the buzz around it was pretty like gnarly. Like, people said, "Oh, it's a very gnarly movie." People walk out of the cinema.
I mean, I understand that for people who don't like things like that, or like body horror, or just, I don't know.
It was referenced.
It's really gruesome.
It was referenced in the Oscars, in the Oscar night by Conan O'Brien, like in the cold open, basically. A lot of cool shit, I would say. The movie had a budget of 18 million, which is nothing,
especially for everything that they do in that movie.
And it's mostly practical, and they built a few sets. And the box office was 77 to 82 million. Okay, we have to
Beanie,
take it away.
are you eating the ball? Sorry. Our dog is a golden doodle, and I think that golden retrievers typically like to chew up their toys and destroy things. It's just in their DNA.
Okay, now he's eating the bed. Hey.
And now he's being banned from the office. Yeah. He's Captain Destructo right now. Sorry.
So where was I? Box office. Interestingly, the movie was shot mostly in France, even though it's set in LA. The reason why it was just cheaper to build the sets they needed, use green screen, and shoot in France, because LA is just very expensive, and shooting on location would have been very expensive. So they flew everybody into France and shot it there, which is kind of cool, because they're just like basically a few scenes outside, and they just used like palm trees and stuff, and it could look like anywhere, it's not like
I mean, I feel like, especially when where was she at a hospital at some point.
I mean, cool, after the accident.
And then she's leaving the hospital, and that's where she runs into the guy that she went to school with. That building in particular for me is like very European. Very, for me, that scene made it super obvious that it wasn't filmed there. But at the same time, I don't think it really matters, because that's not really, I mean, Hollywood is kind of part of the story, just like the whole business. But at the same time, I don't know. It doesn't seem to.
I mean, it is because
the setting doesn't super matter.
The main, like, her house is in the Hollywood Hills.
No, sure.
Yeah. But let's talk about the plot.
Well, there is this incredibly beautiful woman.
Some people would argue Margaret Qualley is the plot. Like, I watch it for the plot, and that's Margaret Qualley naked.
Would you argue that?
No. Just, I'm saying that's a meme.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watch it for Demi Moore, but
I mean, both of them.
So Demi Moore is this like aerobics, like live.
I mean, she was an actress,
aerobics instructor. And she does these classes on television. Think like 80s aerobics classes, but clearly modern day, but still kind of doing that style. So she's doing that, and they're trying to get her out. Basically, they're trying to phase her out. She's too old. They need somebody younger, somebody, tighter, I guess. Fresh face for this thing to continue. And
it's a metaphor or satire. It's basically Hollywood, the whole apparatus of being famous and just being an actress in Hollywood, or in the sphere of fame and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. And so they want to push her out, and she overhears Dennis Quaid, who's her boss. He basically says that he's pushing her out. She then gets in a car accident, and in the hospital is just feeling like my life is over. You know, like I'm not pretty anymore. I'm not thin anymore. I'm not whatever. You know, you can tell all of these thoughts going through her head. And the male nurse, who looks doll like to me, he's very shiny and he just gives her this little USB stick that says the substance on it with a phone number, and he says, "This changed my life." Doesn't say anything else about it. So you can continue if you want to continue.
I mean, she called the number, finds out that there's this new drug that when you take it, your body basically splits in half.
She watched the video. She didn't call the number yet.
Right, and your body splits in half basically, and a better version, a younger version of you comes out. But you're still connected.
Yeah, the whole thing is you are still one.
Yeah, so 7 days it's you, and then 7 days the younger me, and then back again.
And you have to switch after 7 days. Right. So you always have to switch back. Right. There are no exceptions.
So there are already a lot of foreshadowings and stuff that's going to happen. But yeah, she basically does it out of desperation and splits in half, which is one of the coolest scenes ever. It's super gruesome. It's not something for lighthearted. It's the first time I saw it, I was like, god damn. But yeah, it's pretty cool done because it's a lot of practical mixed with CG.
When you see like the two eyeballs in her.
Yeah, it's very cool. And obviously in the beginning it works out pretty well, but once the market quality is the younger self, she gets a taste
selfish
of how life can be and how she wants it to be, and not changing back every other 7 days. She takes away of Demi Moore's youth, or still.
Yeah, I mean, essentially she added a little bit of time, not even like a full night, I think, but just a little bit of time so she could finish out this night that she was having with this guy. Yeah. And that caused, when she switched back, Demi Moore woke up and her finger was an old lady's finger. Right. And that's the start part, of it, of the hatred between the two of them.
Yeah, and obviously it gets worse and worse, and she turns into this super old hag-looking witch type thing, and there's no way back. The guy on the telephone tells them there's
what's been changed cannot be given back or something.
So she has to adjust to the new type of body she has, which is like a very gruesome looking thing. And it ends basically where the thing is, I don't want to tell everything that happens because it's such a cool movie. You have to kind of watch it.
Yeah, but I think we've established most people who listen this far and have seen the whole movie.
I know, but I know a lot of people probably never would want to watch it because it's super gruesome and it's just super gory and
but you know, it is.
That's why I just wanted to say.
And it isn't. It is in the moments when it is. Yeah. But it's not. That's not the whole movie. That's actually a pretty small part of the. I mean, the visuals can be pretty, especially once she's like really deformed. The visual is like really wow. But I feel like the most gruesome parts are the beginning and the end. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's so over the top and it's funny. The thing is, it's a satire. It's meant to be super funny and just campy and gory and just like B horror almost. But it's so over the top where it's not like.
I wouldn't say it's meant to be B horror.
I mean, the last thing on the stage.
I mean, the last thing,
totally
sure.
B-horror.
That was stolen from Thanksgiving.
That's like, it's the funniest shit ever. And it's just like rewatching it now in 4K, it's just a very unique. The thing is, I hate body horror. Body horror is like one of the, like The Fly, for example. It's one of those movies I have a hard time watching because it's such a, I don't know, the idea of something changing in your body slowly and morphing into something grotesque, horror-like thing, monster, whatever. It's just, I don't know, something I have a hard time with watching. And this movie is different because it's funny. It's a satire. It's not like The Fly is super serious.
It is funny, yeah.
But this movie is just funny, and it's funny until the end. And it's just like, even the beginning, the first scene is basically just zooming into a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is her star, and it tells the whole movie.
It does.
She's super beautiful. Like, the star is super shiny new, and then it starts cracking, and it's two pieces.
And then
it's
people
like
start, like, you see people taking pictures with it, and then people slowly stop caring about the star
people
and
drop things
drop
on
things
it.
on it, smear things on it, and
Right. And the
Yeah.
last thing is basically more cracks, and then this massive burger gets spilled on it, like ketchup
Mhm.
everywhere and sauce, and it's just basically the whole fucking movie that's happening.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, and it works with visuals a lot. One thing I have to say, we now rewatching it, one thing we figured, like, we saw that was a little weird. She, like, Demi Moore has her house over the Hollywood Hills, like,
Yeah,
super
that
nice.
really bothered
And
me.
there was this, once she split and once her new younger self established herself as this newcomer who takes over the show, she got this massive billboard right in front of her window.
Yeah, like right in front of her
And
living room
I feel
window.
like that was a continuity error. I feel like, or even editing. I don't know. It's super
I don't know.
weird because
It's super weird.
it's there, and then all of a sudden it's gone again.
Yeah.
And then it's there again.
Yeah, but it's not like the billboard just changed.
No,
the
it's gone.
The whole thing
Yeah.
is gone.
Yeah.
Like the entire structure
Yeah.
of this super high billboard in the hills is gone.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah. And obviously the whole thing is CG, so it's a blue screen looking out there. But that's why it makes it so weird. Like, I feel like they either forgot or they didn't pay attention in the cut and then just left it because the movie was done. I don't know. It's just a little weird. I don't really understand it.
Or like maybe the timeline wasn't really known yet. Like when I don't know. Like in terms of where that would be in the movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. Again, the movie is a satire. The movie has a lot of themes that are like social commentary about women aging, about actresses being, just put aside once they're getting older. I feel like it's not so much the case anymore as it used to be. Like there are a lot of
There are a lot of
actresses.
I feel like actresses who are celebrated right now,
right,
like for their beauty and their intelligence and
for their graceful aging.
Yeah.
But interestingly, she chose to have Elizabeth Barkley host an aerobics class inspired by Jane Fonda's transition from a successful actress to her second career starring in an exercise tape. I didn't even know that Jane Fonda did that.
You didn't know that's like the biggest thing that Jane Fonda did.
I love Jane Fonda, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The whole scene where she gets birthed out of her back is, I feel like it's one of the most iconic. I feel like that's going to be an iconic scene in the future. Like maybe the movie is not something that will endure in the grand scheme. I don't know. Maybe not. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
But
I
this
think
scene,
it might.
I feel like this is one of those of scenes that come along only every, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years, where that Titanic sinking, things that will be at some point played in like a best of something. And this scene, it's so iconic. It's so unique. It's gruesome, but it's also kind of funny in a way, because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. As I said, when we watched it the first time, I was like, oh my God. And the thing is, I'm actually a little annoyed about that. I really now wanted to watch it with people in the cinema. Because I feel like the reactions to people who've never seen it are like, oh my, what the fuck, like gasping and all that stuff. And I feel like that we didn't have that, obviously. And so I feel like, it could have been a better viewing experience with people in a packed theater.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe some squirmish people who are like, like covering their faces and just, maybe even walking out. Yeah. Like 20 minutes in, they're like, what is this shit? And then just walking out.
Sorry.
Do you have any trivia or something you want to?
Well, not to burst anyone's bubble here, but Margaret Qualley revealed in interviews that her breasts in the movie are not her own. Oh. They are prosthetics designed by a French makeup artist named Pierre Olivier Persing.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Just sorry about that.
Ray Liotta was
I
originally
know.
cast as Harvey, but died in 2022. 3 months into filming, Liotta was replaced by Dennis Quaid. So I assume he filmed some scenes already.
I have that same thing here. He was cast in February 2022, but he died in May that year before he could film his scenes.
Oh, okay.
Dennis Quaid replaced him, but Liotta is still mentioned in the director's thank you notes during the credits.
Oh man, that would have been
So fucking good.
The thing is, I
mean, I'm glad that Dennis Quaid was in a role where you don't like him because
yeah, you hate him very easily. Yeah.
Just the scene alone where he's eating shrimp.
Yeah, it's the most gross.
It's so disgusting
ever. And it's funny because a lot of people say that's the most disgusting scene in the movie. Because it's the most realistic scene in the movie. That is gross, obviously. Yeah.
Demi Moore said that she was nervous about filming full nudity at age 59 and felt vulnerable, but she credited co-star Margaret Qualley, who was 29 at the time of filming, and portrayed a younger version of her character, with making her feel comfortable on set. Qualley also performed totally naked. Coincidentally, Qualley's mother, Andie MacDowell, co-starred 40 years earlier with Demi in St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
A career-making film for both actresses.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's cool.
I have something else. During a 1-week break, while only Qualley was working, Moore contracted shingles and lost 20 pounds during the production.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yep, that sucks. Initially, 2 days of exterior shooting were planned in Los Angeles. However, Cracknote, the cinematographer, filmed test shots of palm trees early during filming and forgot really as she could use these shots as and eliminate extensive exterior shots. So ultimately, the only part of the film actually shot in Los Angeles was still backdrops in the canyons.
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically the only thing. Everything else was shot on in France.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So another trivia, which I find super interesting. The film is partly inspired by Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, which is about a man who manages to avoid aging by allowing the signs of aging to appear on a painting of him instead of his real body. However, instead of merely showing the signs of aging, the portrait ends up becoming progressively more monstrous as a reflection of Gray's immoral behavior.
Yeah.
Just as Elizabeth's body starts to decay quickly when Sue tries to abuse the substance. Gray hides the portrait by moving it into a more private room of his house and ends up stabbing it. This is reflected in the film as Elizabeth herself smashes the poster of Elizabeth that hangs in the living room and ends up hiding it in a secluded room. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's really cool. After the production, so the production was on a set, on a stage, and they built the apartment and stuff like that they needed for the shoots. But after the production finished on the apartment set, it was destroyed to build the theater in the same space. So they had only that small space essentially. And so when they were done with everything, they're like, okay, well, let's move on. And which is kind of unusual because if there would have been reshoots or something, you know, then they couldn't go back to that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, initially there were plans to shoot on a real theater, but that was going to be refurbished completely. So the crew had to come up with something else. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you hate horror movies, don't watch it. If you like horror movies but are not a massive fan of gore, I would still highly recommend the movie because it's just a very good story. It's super well acted. It's fun. And just the symbolism of the whole thing is worth watching. And the thing is, you can look away during the gruesome scenes, even though I feel like the birth scene at the beginning is it's worth to see at least once, unless you suffer from bad nightmares weeks after, then maybe skip it. Let's move on, Anna.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to movie of the week. Movie of the week. Did we watch a movie?
Did we?
Oh, we actually watched Call Me by Your Name.
But we did that as movie of the week already.
And I Love You, Beth Cooper.
Well, then it kind of has
it's so
to
funny
be I Love
because
You, Beth
I
Cooper.
watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies. and
Yeah.
we watched 2 movies. Yeah.
I don't have
That's
time.
Call Me by Your Name is again. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, but we talked about that already. So let's just talk about. I mean, let's just state "Call Me by Your Name" is significantly better.
Again, I love Beth Cooper.
But I
It's,
love Beth Cooper. We should at least talk about it then, because we've already
really,
talked.
we just said there's no movie of the week. If you haven't watched Call Me by Your Name, that's it. But I'm not going to choose I Love You, Beth Cooper, because it's not a great movie.
It's not a great movie.
It's a shit movie. It was streaming on Disney Plus, so we're like, oh, let's watch it. But it was shit.
Are you only basing it off of 1 week though? Can you go back at all?
No, because the substance was a week ago. I'm not going back that much.
Okay.
And the thing is, we haven't watched that many movies. The last one was The Bay and The Phoenician Scheme, maybe.
The Bay was fun. We could talk about The Bay.
Yeah, okay, The Bay. Yeah, that's
a fun one.
The Bay is the movie of the week.
The thing is, again, like I said, Call Me by Your Name is the obvious choice, but we've done it already as movie of the week, so it feels
Let's talk
wrong
about The Bay. The Bay is worth it talking about.
The Bay is fun, yeah.
It's a mockumentary, horror mockumentary by Barry Levinson. Barry Levinson is known for Rain Man, Sleepers, Good Morning Vietnam, Wag the Dog, tons of other really good movies. And in 2012, he produced, made, and directed The Bay, which was in line of like a lot of found footage horror movies, like Paranormal Activity and stuff like that. And it's funny because The Bay is very amateur made. It looks like it was made by an amateur, which is really cool because it gives this movie a very authentic feel, and it's mixed in with those. I don't know if there are any real scenes like from any like a news station, or if it's all made up. I don't even know because it's so realistic. I couldn't even say. Like if they mixed in some real footage, maybe. I think it's
all made up because everything relates to what they're.
I'm not saying what they're saying. I'm saying what they filmed.
Okay.
Because there's something like the dead fish and stuff like that. There's stuff that in there that could technically be real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically about a bay in somewhere in America on the East Coast.
I think I forgot. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Maryland. It's in Maryland.
It's in Maryland, yeah.
Seaside town, Claridge.
Claridge.
And this...
Is that a real town in Maryland? Did we ever look that up?
Maybe. But this virus thing emerges. A lot of people get sick all of a sudden. And they find out basically that this... real thing, it's like this parasite kind of evolved very quickly due to an accident due to a chemical imbalance in the water that was caused by humans and is eating now human beings alive. And it's a very gruesome movie. It turns into it starts off as this something happened in this bay on this day, and nobody really talked about it because it was covered up by everybody. But
government cover up essentially.
But I'm the reporter who was there, and I want to talk about it. And then she just starts, and then the third act is pretty gruesome and just very brutal, and yeah, it's a fun movie. I like it.
Claridge is a fictional town made up for the movie, but it's on the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah, it's the thing is it's. I feel like in the when the paranormal started in 2005 or 2006, a lot of other similar movies came up during that time, and a lot of people didn't pay attention enough, or a lot of those movies came up and then just disappeared again. And The Bay is one of those.
It was such a popular.
It was very popular
thing to create at that time, and so it was just everyone was doing that.
Yeah,
and Blair Witch kind of started it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Or at least started the hype for our generation. I'm sure there are older. I don't know. Maybe. But the whole idea of found footage was fairly new with Blair Witch.
I don't think there was because it's about cameras. So if you have like a handheld camera, and that was not a thing so much attainable in maybe in the 80s.
In the 90s, yeah.
But yeah, The Bay is one of those movies that spawned and just disappeared, and I feel like it's worth watching if you like. It's not only found footage. It's a mockumentary. It's a documentary that's fake and obviously spiked with found footage stuff. And it's just a very cool movie. I really like it.
The only thing I didn't like is the main actress, which was unfortunate because she's narrating the entire thing. So
yeah, she was not great.
I don't know if it was on purpose. Like either she's really good at acting, because again, she's playing an amateur. So it makes sense that, you know, she's not that like engaging.
I feel the thing is, in some scenes she was very good, like very convincing to the point where like, oh yeah, this is just a woman who reports but is not an actress or anything.
Yeah.
And in some scenes it was just a little cringy, to the point where I'm like, okay, this is not believable. But yeah, let's move on to Letterboxd substance reviews.
Indubitably.
Do you have a fun one?
I mean, okay, this one I agree with. Yet the most unbelievable thing is that she built that secret room all by herself. Like out of the whole movie, that's and I agree. It's really unbelievable.
True. That's true.
I mean, at least in the amount of time that she had, you know, we assume that she did it in the 1 week time.
Yeah.
Because at that point, nothing had changed yet.
Yeah, that's true.
So she had to have done it in 7 days where she built all of this by herself.
Yeah.
And there, you know, how?
Yeah, that's true.
Like with cutting open the tiles and making a door in the bathroom that didn't exist.
Rewatching again, like where does she get all the like there's this one shot there's just welding stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then she builds this perfectly tiled door and stuff like that.
The door is what gets me. Because like, how do you do that? You'd have to retile a bunch of that because you're going to break the tiles doing that.
I mean, that's what I also said. I mean, she was born. So technically she's been not on Earth. So, and I was like, do they share a conscience and like experience? Do they kind of share that? I mean, I assume so, a little bit at least. But then again, it's all off, yeah. But yeah, just how it is.
That one's funny. If you get it, it's funny. Very mindful, very Demi Moore. Do you get it? Because there was that whole thing that very mindful, very demure or whatever it was.
Demure, yeah.
It's
I mean,
Demi
this one
Moore.
is funny too. You're not you when you're hungry. was that Snickers, right?
Snickers is hangry, yeah. It's like the whole hangry
but
thing.
That was it.
Yeah.
You're not you when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers. Have a Snickers.
This is what Ozempic is secretly doing to y'all.
That's actually funny. Mama, a girl inside you.
New year, new me. I would fuck up those directions so bad.
Yeah, and here it is. Somehow the nastiest thing in this film was Dennis Quaid eating shrimp.
But that's the other thing. Okay, the directions, right? That's the other thing.
There was no directions.
There was just,
like,
at least from what we saw.
This is number 2. This is number 3.
From what we saw, there's, you know, this is your food packet. Yeah. This is the food packet for your other self. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like they just have to know how to put it in an IV correctly and where, like, do you put it in a vein? Do you not put it in a vein? Like, where do you put it? And I assume you put it in a vein.
Yeah, sure you do.
But it's like, okay, sure. And then, and like with I also thought it was confusing you know, you activate once and then you, sustain or whatever it was for every day or
you have to you get the stuff from the other person so you can,
but also that was not, so it's not, it didn't say only the like only the other you sustains every day, because that was what was confusing to me, because it said you activate only once.
But that makes sense because the other she is just a copy,
a vessel.
Essentially.
But Demi Moore is just a vessel.
But she doesn't need an activator. She just needs food. That's the only thing she needs.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like, doesn't say where you get it from. What do you stabilize with? It just says you stabilize. It's like what with what?
I would call the numbers so often to not mess up. Like,
right.
You work with body, and if that body dies or ends up whatever,
I mean,
then
maybe there was more to it that you just didn't see, you know, with like but it didn't look like it.
The thing is, it's one of those movies you don't question because otherwise it falls apart. Like the whole movie is ridiculous, but still it works because it's just so much fun and tells a great story, and it's visually appealing, and That's it, everybody. If you want to support us, you know the drill. Please subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Please like and comment on the podcast. If you have seen the Substance, did you like the Substance? Are you a fan of body horror? And if you want to really support us, if you want to help us out with equipment, with buying movies, with keeping this thing up on float, whatever you say,
Keeping it afloat.
keeping it afloat, head over to our Patreon, which is linked in every description everywhere. You can help us out there, and you get also something for it. And say hi to Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Joe. That's it. Bye.